PCP, not PSP.
Oh yeah, you. Oh man, when I play the PSP, I'm always throwing my baby in the microwave.
You guys like LSD? You have any good experiences with it?
I do. No, I don't. I've never. Oh, the game! Yeah, I've actually never played the game. And chat's mentioning this game is art. Yeah, it is. This game is art.
Sorry, we're going to be insufferable here. This is what you call an art game.
Mm-hmm. People who don't like that, sorry. People who do like it, welcome.
Now, despite
People
the
who
name,
don't care either way, I don't care.
Despite the name, it's not a simulation of being on the drug. Despite what you may see over the next half hour,
and despite what the internet may have said in its commentary,
this is basically an adaptation of its designer's dream diary. For a few years, this guy kept a diary of his dreams, and this is a representation of his attempts at making it interactive. Made by Asmic Ace. If you're wondering where you've seen that logo before, and if you're a longtime stream viewer, you know those guys as the people behind The Ring Terror's Realm.
Oh boy.
And like that game, this game plays terribly, but it doesn't matter because it's not really action-oriented, so it doesn't really need to play well. Oh, if you're sensitive to light, beware of this game. It won't go well for you.
Yeah, it's a little flashy. I wouldn't say it's as bad as other things, but
it's
do
flashy
take care
and
of
in
yourself.
Unpredictable ways, so do take caution.
Yeah, so take care.
Trial of Luxury says, Yume Nikki PS1 edition. Yeah, basically. If you're familiar with the PC indie game Yume Nikki, this is almost exactly the same concept. You explore these really bizarre environments, and there's not much in the way of explanation or progression. Mm-hmm. It's just a whole bunch of weird shit all put together. But for what it is, I think it works. I'll leave that up to you to decide for yourself, though.
So you're just gonna wander around, show folks what LSD is?
Mm-hmm. So this is LSD. It's a polygonal world that you wander and look at stuff in. Let's look at this window over here.
I love windows.
Can we not go through? There we go. This game's primary mechanic is bumping into stuff. If you see something that has a distinct shape, or even if it's just a wall, if you bump into it for a few seconds, you'll be transported elsewhere. This looks like a set of praying hands. Let's see what this is all about. So again, that's it. You just run around a 3D world and bump into stuff.
Yeah.
And then you get taken elsewhere. Each level, I guess you could call it, is a 10-minute sequence where you just run around and bump into whatever strikes your fancy. Mm-hmm. And depending on what you bump into, and when you bump into it, and what you bumped into before, you'll get different results. It's very unpredictable. We seem to be on the surface of an alien planet or something.
Yeah, you seem to be on the surface of Ground Meat Valley.
Delicious. Mm-hmm. It's what dreams are made of.
Sweet dreams are made of beef. Who am I to walk on what? Hey, at least I'm not reading the Blue Star LSD warnings to parents, which...
That's right. Alex has brought in his
my
urban
legend reference book. I actually... so for those who don't know, and I apologize...
Something I was looking up recently, because I knew we'd be covering this game, is LSD, the drug, and... Man, there may be more weird myths associated with LSD than any other drug ever. So, just like the weirdest shit.
Just things that are not in any way, shape... Basically, a lot of your weird, kind of incomprehensible drug urban legends tend to get credited to LSD, which is funny because a lot of them are actually originally credited to PCP, so whatever.
It's more accurate to say that you'd have those kind of reactions on PSP.
So while Danny wanders around...
PCP, not PSP.
Oh yeah, oh man, when I play the PSP, I'm always throwing my baby in the microwave. Anyways.
Oh, 05. You couldn't tear me away from my PSP. It's like I was a different person.
So fresh and so clean, I love the big screen. Anyway, so Blue Star Acid too.
The Blue Star thing may be something you've heard of, if anything, about LSD.
So I actually have a few of the original... There's some horses. I have a few of the original Blue Star Acid warnings in front of me, reprinted by... For those who are interested, I'm going to be reading out of...
Horses are unnatural.
Yeah, they're messed up horses. I'm reading out of Too Good to Be True, which is one of Jan Harrell of Brunband, who is one of the head of the urban legend kind of professional scholarly world in the U.S. That's where I'm reading from. If you want links to the Amazon page or whatever, hit me up. I'll show you where to buy this. It's a great book, actually. I recommend it.
Oh no! I've fallen. I've died in my dream. That automatically ends the level that you're on. And it takes you to this screen, which charts your progress. You're either static or dynamic, upper or downer. And it depends on what you visit each day.
So, Danny, let's talk about some urban legends here with LSD.
Let's do that.
So,
Alex, you read off some LSD urban legends
Danny,
while I investigate.
Have you heard about the Blue Star LSD tattoos? Have you heard about what our children are going through with this?
Yes, I've heard that some strangers on the playground will give you Mickey Mouse tattoos, and if you put them on your body, you will instantly become insane from LSD.
That's right. Here is a reprint. I will be reading directly from a reprint that's been in... this one is from... Let's see, according to Brunvan, these are from the...
I guess day 2 was a wash. It just kind of dumped me back to the menu. Go on.
Okay, one of these is from a bank in Fulton, Missouri, and the other was reprinted at Scottsboro, Alabama school system headquarters. So, let's read these off. Warning to parents. A form of tattoo called Blue Star is being sold to school children. It's a small piece of paper containing a blue star. They are the size of a pencil eraser, and each star is soaked with LSD!
Oh, shit.
The drug is absorbed through the skin simply by handling the paper. There are also brightly colored paper tabs resembling postage stamps that have the picture of the following.
I found a turtle friend.
Cool. Superman, Mickey Mouse, Disney characters, clowns, Bart Simpson, butterflies. Each one is wrapped in foil.
Uh-oh.
This is a new way of selling acid by appealing to young children. And these are laced with drugs. If your child gets any of the above, do not handle them. These are known to react quickly, and some are laced with strychnine. That's right, strychnine. It doesn't say
Poison.
that, but... Symptoms: hallucinations, severe vomiting, uncontrolled laughter, mood changes, changes in body temperature. Please feel free to reproduce this article and distribute it within your community and workplace. From J. O'Connell, Danbury Hospital Outpatient Chemical Dependency Treatment Services.
This rumor got really widespread, despite the fact that you really cannot absorb LSD through your skin in any meaningful quantity.
You can through the tongue, but bladder acid does not work like that. Anyway, so, please copy and post this at your work, give to friends, send a copy to your local schools. This is very serious. Young lives have already been taken. This is growing faster than we can warn parents and professionals! So,
Watch out, everybody. That little Mickey Mouse tattoo of him from Fantasia.
Yeah, so...
It actually contains LSD, sorry.
So I'm just gonna straight up read Brun Van's commentary on the whole thing, because this is much...
You go ahead, I'm wandering this weird...
Okay.
Place.
Since he wrote it, I'm gonna be using I statements, but don't attribute those to me, attribute those to him, so yeah. From my thick file of examples of this particular bogus warning, I selected two, which I didn't read the second one because it just says the same thing. Both sent to me in 1996. The first, which hung for years in a prominent position in the school system, came from Isaac P. Espy Jr., athletic director of the City of Schools of Scottsboro, Alabama, who commented, "This bad boy is urban legend written all over it." The second example turned up in a local bank, and was sent by Mary Mosley of Fulton, Missouri, who wrote, "I smell an urban legend right away." Variations on this flyer have been around since the early 1980s, possibly based on a garbled, unauthorized reprinting of an actual police report of that era, and they continue to proliferate. Now, blotter acid, absorbent paper soaked in LSD, has been produced since the 1960s, and all kinds of pictures, symbols, and text have been printed on the paper, but these tabs have never existed in this form of tattoos. Investigative journalists and drug enforcement officials have constantly denounced such flyers, and the reference to J. O'Connell, or O'Donnell, is as bogus as the rest of the information. Yeah, J. O'Connell has never existed.
This somehow got spread far and wide, despite there being no basis in fact whatsoever.
A 1991 press release from the Michigan State Police discounts all of the warning's claims. While LSD does exist in paper form, it is not usually casually sold to children, it is not laced with strychnine, and it does not cause death in users.
This looks like a fun place.
It is. Ooh.
Let's go.
It is not a new drug, nor is it an epidemic. A police narcotics supervisor quoted in the same release, puzzled, "We don't know who generated the original letter or why it continues to recycle every year. It's like a chain letter that started 10 years ago and won't go away." What happens, I assume, says Brunband, is that whenever some well-meaning citizen comes across a copy of an older notice and believes it to be authentic, he or she decides to make duplicates on a photocopy machine and send it circulating once again. And since the warning is a dramatic, frightening, and quite convincing to an unaware, uneducated reader, on and on it goes. Translations of essentially the same bogus warnings have been circulating internationally. Brunvan ends it with, "What a long, strange trip it's been."
Well, that's the end of day 3. It kind of ended just suddenly with us on a city street.
Beautiful.
Here's a fun thing. If you sit at the menu for a few seconds, it'll play a random FMV clip. I don't know how many of these there are, but there's a lot of them.
It's pretty random.
How dismissive. This is art, Alex.
Oh, I actually found it.
This music's cool. Supposedly this game contains several hundred sound samples, or rather just, I don't know how to describe them, just like this weird background ambience.
It's kind of cool, I like
that all
it.
builds on itself. Oh, that dragon's not there anymore. Let's go to the books. Let's become a book.
I love being a book.
You know, I heard a guy took so much LSD he thought he was a book.
I heard that people took so much LSD they stared at the sun until they went blind.
Oh, who's this guy? He's coming towards us. Is he gonna give us some LSD? He disappeared. And now I don't know where we are. This place says love.
I love love.
Or evil.
Do you love me?
I love you.
Good. I am searching for this reference. It's killing me. Ugh.
I want to go to the love building. Let's see what's in there. So, there's a lot of this. There's not just a few environments in this game. There's a ton of them.
Chat's telling us to stare directly at the sun.
That may be what the game wants me to do, yeah. And as you can see, this game's presentation quality ain't great. It's very low poly, the frame rate is poor, the controls are honestly pretty bad, you have to hold X to run, otherwise you go really slow. But none of that really matters, because this is just such a unique experience.
Mm-hmm. It's a very, very unique quote-unquote walking sim and all that stuff.
This is, yeah, it's basically a prototypical walking sim. Even going so far as to, like, they have different footstep sound effects depending on what kind of terrain you're walking on. Like this.
Alright, who wants more drug urban legends?
Me.
This past Christmas, 1999, I heard a story of a Georgia State police.
There's the sun.
Whoa, the sun's yelling at you. I heard a story of a Georgia State patrolman stopping a northbound motorist on the I-75 between Tifton and Valdosta for speeding. Next to the driver was a baby strapped in a car seat. The patrolman noticed that the baby was not moving, and when he inquired about this, he was told that the baby was sick, and the motorist was trying to get the baby home quickly. The patrolman let the man go, but he began having second thoughts about the baby's well-being, so he radioed ahead to another patrolman to pull the motorist over again and see if he could be of any assistance to the sick baby. But when the second patrolman, when he stopped the car, he discovered that the baby was dead and had been disemboweled and stuffed with cocaine and drugs and sewn back up.
Alex, I did not know you had such filth on your bookshelf.
These stories were sent to me in 1986 and 1990. This is the domesticated version of a legend that usually describes the smuggling of drugs into North America. In the 1985, the incident was said to have happened on a Miami-bound flight and was reported in, because everybody is like, oh, urban legends, nobody important believes that. Oh, ho, ho, ho. This legend was reported in Life, New Republic, and the Washington Post. The latter publication quickly retracted the story, quoting customs officials who traced the legend back as far back as 1973, but said they weren't able to confirm it and believed it to be a rumor. In a National Geographic article on emeralds published in the July 1990 issue, a story is told about a Senegalese family who basically did the same thing, blah, blah, blah. So,
hollowed out a baby, fill it with cocaine.
Yeah, supposedly these criminals were caught on the folklorically appropriate third commission of the crime, of course.
Oh.
So, yeah.
What is that? Who are you?
Last Christmas, I gave you my drugs. So we got some other ones, too.
Is this that bunny thing from Donnie Darko? Because I'm not okay with that. Uh-oh.
Here we go.
Oh.
So who wants to know about the babysitters who smoked LSD and ate a baby?
That was a joke on The Simpsons. Come on.
No. There was the couple who were going out one night, and they couldn't get the regular babysitter, so they called someone they knew and arranged to get a new girl to come by and sit their baby. But when she showed up, they were a little surprised because she was dressed like a hippie and had a kind of spaced out look in her eyes. But they gave her instructions about caring for the baby and went out anyway. Later in the evening, the mother called home to see how things were going, but the hippie girl said, "Oh, just fine. I put the turkey in the oven." Well, they didn't have a turkey! And they didn't know what she was talking about, so they decided to go home right away. And when they went into their house, they smelled something cooking and rushed to the kitchen and looked in the oven. The babysitter had put the baby in the oven and roasted it! She had been taking LSD and was completely freaked out.
She seemed pretty calm at first.
Mm-hmm.
I put the turkey in the oven. Yeah, no problem.
The version is typical of commentary on this. The version is typical of how this legend emerged in the United States in the late 60s. Sometimes the mother asked the babysitter to put the baby to bed and put the turkey in the oven, and the drug-dazed hippie reverses these instructions.
Variations on this story were revisited several times in the television show Dragnet.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing a couple. Like, this couple was so strung out, they left their baby in a bathtub and it drowned. Don't do drugs.
Yeah, that's another
have to do
common
with
one,
baby
too.
injury, which is always distressing.
That's actually why they're told,
the thing
too.
is, this is all fake. None of this ever happened.
Yeah, those are some drug urban legends for you. There's quite a few more.
Hope you've enjoyed horrifying baby stories with your host, Alex. Oh.
Man.
Supposedly, when the screen turns red, that means things take a darker turn in your dream. It can either manifest itself as people coming to get you, or just weird environments that are warped. Or maybe it's camels floating in the sky who disappear.
Goodbye, friends.
Not a fan of this LSD.
LSD, not the best thing.
This is something I'm not gonna... I'm not looking forward to flashing back on this 20 years from now. I think that is true. LSD does trigger flashbacks in some people. So if you don't like that, don't do
that
LSD.
is actually that's an actual symptom that is conclusively provable. However, staring at the sun until you go blind because of 1960s drug use is not something that, while statistically on average, just with the amount of human beings alive throughout history, it's probably occurred. I mean, just on average, some human beings probably stared at the sun until they went blind, but to say that that was an epidemic due to LSD use is not real.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can find us a more fun, positive legend.
Also, don't take the brown acid.
Yeah.
It's gone bad. It's past its expiration date. Have we been here yet? I think we have. But again, revisiting places will often yield new results in this game. I forget how many days there are. Maybe 120? You'll be playing this for a very long time if you have this game. Also worth noting, do not pay the $250 asking price for this. You can get it on Japanese PSN for $6.
Seriously. Just do it that way, and...
It's kind of a miracle it was re-released, and it's even a bigger miracle that it's so cheap. And for that price, I really recommend it. Because this is like nothing else, except for, again, maybe Yume Nikki, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
We've been led back to this hub world a few times, with this weird squeaky bridge.
Alright, we got one more urban legend that I found.
Please
here.
tell me this does not have to do with cooking a
No
baby.
one dies! This is a pleasant one. I promise.
Good.
In a high school class back in the 1960s, always the 1960s, a narcotics officer from the local police department was brought in to lecture the students on the dangers of drugs. As part of his presentation, the officer brought along 2 joints from the evidence room, which he placed on a tray to show the students. These, he said, are marijuana cigarettes, and I'm going to pass them around the room so you can see and smell them and know what they are like. When the tray comes back, there better still be 2 joints on it. The officer started the tray passing around the room, and when it came time to get the tray back to him, there were 3 joints on it.
Bonus!
Commentary here. A widely told story that some tellers claim to have witnessed firsthand. Certainly an officer who tried such a ploy would be asking for it, considering the wit and nerve of some students and the ready availability of marijuana in many schools. Other versions describe a teacher discussing birth control and passing around a couple of condoms. This legend, like several others in this category, deals with a minor infraction and depicts more of a prank than a crime.
It's quite a prank. Whoa! Uh-oh. I think I just ran into Slender Man.
People talking about Jenkum. God. Jenkum is one of my favorite.
Man, that's a good one, too.
That's a great one because of how much adults believed it.
Mm-hmm.
That's... God, fake... I won't lie. Urban legends about fake drugs are some of my favorite just because so many of them are started by teens who just want adults to believe stupid shit, and yeah.
Let's go to this building. This looks pretty conspicuous.
It's a good building.
Really, you see what's inside.
Positive drug legends.
Yeah, tell us the lighter side of drugs.
There are very few of these here, honestly.
Hey. Jar.
God. I love jars.
Oh, Jar's bad. Jar's real bad.
I'm like, oh, there's a story about drinking that... Oh, no, that story involves a child dying. Never mind.
You were a font for child death stories.
Hey, these stories aren't real, first of all. They're literal horror stories designed to be told culturally to fucking scare people into morality. These are modern fairy tales. Modern fairy tales just happen to involve babies being eaten. As if old fairy tales didn't have babies being eaten. Let's be fair here.
You got your Hansel and Gretel. You got your,
God, you've got your...
It's pretty much just Hansel and Gretel.
In the original Pinocchio, that cricket gets fucking smashed by Pinocchio for being too annoying. I'm not joking! In the original Italian literature, yeah. The cricket keeps telling him his conscience, and Pinocchio grabs a hammer and smashes him and says, "You're too annoying!"
Boy, hear that, Pinocchio. I've been here before. Sometimes there's a little sumo match happening here, but not this time. I haven't played much of this game, but the weird thing is, you can play a lot of it and still not see most of it. I'm seeing plenty of new stuff.
Yeah, you are, actually.
Here we seem to be traveling through a womb of some sort.
Oh man, I love Earthbound's conclusion.
Games are art. Oh no, it's all the babies that people took LSD and roasted.
Oh my god, they're all here!
This is where all the babies go.
Oh god! Yay! We're alive again! Don't eat us! Don't eat us!
Welcome to your nightmares here on Adventure Pals Weekly Stream. Oh, it's our friend the Sphinx. And behind him is a famous bridge, complete with boats.
I love bridges.
I love boats. Here are some benches overlooking a famous building. Cool blimp. It's just fun to explore this game because there's no stakes. You don't really, you're not competing with anything. There's no enemies. You're here to see stuff, and that's what you do. You look at stuff. It strikes your fancy, you bump into it.
So this game is like Second Life then?
Yeah.
You just bump into stuff and, well, I guess you won't see dicks in this version.
Probably not.
Hopefully not.
I'm hitting the liquor cabinet. Oh boy. But again, this is all very dreamlike. None of this is interconnected. It's... Actually, no. Some of this has some tenuous logical links in how you progress, but it's mostly just unexplained stuff.
Trough of Luxury, is that true? Did those bibs really say womb? Because if those bibs really said womb, I'm gonna lose my shit.
We touched the psychedelic penguin.
Why did you do that?
I wanted to see what would happen. There's also the widespread belief that taking LSD will make you permanently insane. Which, no. And you can't dodge the American draft by taking a lot of LSD. A lot of people apparently tried to do that. Well, we're now on a Ferris wheel. Cool. Sweet. I'm gonna show a couple of more of the FMVs and see what we end up with, and then we'll head off to intermission.
You know, McGruff, one of the guys playing McGruff got arrested for, like, way too much weed and fucking guns, right?
Wait, what? Way too much weed and guns?
Yeah.
So not just weed and guns, but like an egregious amount of both.
I really like the ink look, actually. It's something I...
This is unverified, but this might be a good game to take drugs
Oh,
to.
I'm sorry. McGruff actually had a grenade launcher.
Oh, but in case you can't tell, I enjoy this game.
Yeah,
it's
this
cool.
game, it's weird, it's unusual, but it's freaking cool.
You can just head off in a direction and see something new pretty much every time you play it. And the more you play it, the more fucked up it gets. And that kind of rules. So good job, Asmic Ace.
No, I definitely do get that chat's Trough of Luxury specifically is actually asking if anybody gets that Kenji Eno warp feel from this. You know,
Yeah,
I originally
actually.
thought this was a Kenji Eno game when I first heard of it, and learning it wasn't was actually kind of a surprise. Yeah, Smebs is right. Kenji Eno does tend to be a little bit more structured.
Yeah, his, well, it doesn't make total sense, his stories, but they're more interconnected and logical. This is just very illogical.
This is very surreal. This is just literal surrealism, which is... I'm... The Dadaist likes a surrealist game, quite surprised.
Yeah, it's just all surrealism all the time. There's no other gameplay to this other than looking at weird shit. And if you're okay with that, go spend the $5 on Japanese PSN.
Yeah, you know
I
what?
highly recommend it.